What's going on, guys? Eric here again for another SAS video. Today we're going to take a look on how to create the Y-residual, and then we're going to take a look on what we can do with that and checking some classical assumptions. But before I start, just like always, be sure to check my notation with your teacher to make sure everything I'm saying is correct. So let's get right into it. Let's get a little sassy. So I already have imported the data in here. Once again, I just use random data and have my normal data set as example and my variables labeled as such. So the first thing we want to do to actually create the residual is use procreg data, set that equal to your data set name, and then have model your dependent variable set equal to your independent variables, and then output out. And so here you're going to do output out equals residuals. So this is you're creating a new set name, and that's going to be your residual set. And then below you're going to have R is equal to Y resid. And so there you're creating essentially the Y residual variable. So you'll run quit that. And so that pretty much creates it for you. And so then in order to take a look at it, we're going to run our proc core data equals residuals. And that's going to give you the correlation matrix that's going to have your Y residual, and that's going to be able you're going to be able to use that to check classical assumption number 3, which is all explanatory variables are uncorrelated with the error term. So before we run that, though, we're going to also run in order to get our histograms and check for classical assumption 7 and 2. We're going to use the proc univariate data equals the residuals data set again. Make sure you're using the same thing that you created in that output out right there. So we're going to have that. We're going to have var, var, and we're going to have the y resid, or whatever you named it when you set r equal to it up there. And so then to create our histogram, we're going to have histogram space y resid slash normal to see if we have normal distribution. So we'll run that. So now that we have all our code, we'll go ahead and run forest run. So right off the bat, you need, for classical assumption number 2, you're going to use the error term has 0 population mean. So that one's, it's a pretty easy one. If that's 0, then you do not violate it. If it's any other number, you do violate it. Looks like we're good. And then here we have our 3 normality tests. So those, you'll be looking at those for classical assumption number 7. You'll also want to see the histogram. Obviously this isn't normal at all, so that would fail, but your histogram, it should be normal distribution, with following this line pretty well. And then we'll scroll up and to our correlation matrix. So here you can see there's the Y residual that we created. And so we're not worried about its correlation with our dependent variable. You obviously want your residual to be somewhat correlated with your dependent variable. We're really checking to make sure it's not correlated here. So our threshold here most of the time is 0.2. So if one of your predictors has above a 0.2 correlation with the Y residual, you probably want to leave that out of your model, as that is a little too high. So that's going to be it for today. Hopefully that helped you solve those 3 classical assumptions. I hopefully will be making more videos on the other classical assumptions. Do stay tuned. Good luck, and thank you.